I want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk, where we ain't scared. My name is A1, and let me say thank you to everyone that has tuned in and checked out all of the podcasts this year. I know we're still early on. We dropped the first one on January 5th, and I think we're up to number 5 at this point. And as you know, that this podcast is for black men, by black men. So get on over to YouTube. You can subscribe. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts or feedback on any of the podcasts, you can send an email to weain'tscaredtalk@gmail.com. You can also follow on IG at We Ain't Scared Talk. So today's topic, today, I have 3 guests that are on the show by phone, and I'm really excited because I respect these guys. They have a lot of knowledge. They have a tremendous perspective from a black man's perspective. They're part of the 20-something group. And I really want to for them to have an opportunity to speak. So let me go into the topic, and then I'll bring them in one at a time. But today's topic is, what is the biggest mental obstacle black men have to overcome in America, with 3 Ks? Once more, what's the biggest mental obstacle black men have to overcome in America? All right, so the first person I'll introduce you to and let him say a few words his name is Coota Brown. Coota, Coota Brown. Coota Brown. And Coota, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed to be on the show, my brother.
All right. I appreciate you being here for sure. And then the other one, the next brother, his name is TJ. How you doing, TJ?
Blessed, man. Blessed. How you doing today?
Very good, man. And I appreciate you being here as well. I've known, these guys for a minute. And like I said, I really respect what they do and how they think and how they move. And there's going to be another person that's going to be joining us probably in about 5 or 10 minutes. But I'll let everyone know when that happens. And we'll just kind of just move through it and have a good time. And deal with some things that have to be or should be dealt with. Is that all right, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so you both have heard the question, right? On this show, we keep it real. We just want the facts as you think and as you see it for your experience. So, Coota, why don't we kick it off with you, if you're ready, and that is. Just to answer that question. And once you guys get done, I'll throw mine in as well. But what do you believe the biggest mental obstacle for black men in America, what we have to overcome?
I really believe the biggest obstacle mentally that black men need to get over in America is that, being black is a problem. That because I'm black, I don't have a lot of opportunity, and I'm treated as a lesser person. I think that has to get out of our mind state, because history has shown that we've brought so much to this land, and they have been accredited to us. But when you search for knowledge, you find out that a lot of things, just day-to-day lives, we attribute to that people use, and more or less that we got to get out that headspace that we're inadequate because we're black, and that's not the case. We are being hunted. That cannot be, pushed to the side or something that we can just lie about. It is a hunt, the black man, but just to state that because I'm black, it's a problem, which is not true. Mm-hmm. And any and everything that we do, even people try to copy or whitewash. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing that we got to get up out of our minds.
Okay, so just to kind of sum it up, basically that we should not allow ourselves to be convinced that we are at a disadvantage because we're black.
That is correct.
Okay, fair enough. Now, was there a moment, or rather, what have you done to help you combat that feeling or those thoughts of being, or feeling disadvantaged, or not allowing yourself to feel disadvantaged? Like, what are those mental, emotional, spiritual, what are those coping mechanisms that help prevent you from falling into that?
Like I said before, it's just doing the research of my people, just learning more about what we've contributed, and being aware that not only is it great to be black, but a lot of the people are trying to do the same. Like, I would say it like this: it's like, I never liked history, but once I got into my history and not American history, it's almost more or less it's inspiring to know that we've done so much while being oppressed.
Mm. Mm.
And the things that we bring to the table are used, and then whitewashed in the face of America, as if we didn't do anything but pick cotton, which is true but not true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I come from a family that can still remember their cotton picking days, and that kind of throws me off. It's like, history books make it seem like it stopped, hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a great grandmother that tells me that her education is only an 8th grade education.
Wow.
However, she knows about picking cotton. She remembers about going to Mexico and picking cotton. That's how we have a Mexican background in my family.
Mm-hmm.
You dig me? So with that knowledge, it's more inspiring, because I know that I'm special. I have a great grandmother that has 8th grade education, has 8 kids, and 4 of her boys are all entrepreneurs.
Mm.
Her husband was the first black plumber here in Austin. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have to know that as much as my back is against the wall means as hard I need to fight.
Okay. I respect that. TJ.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna, make another comment, but I don't want to, leave you out of that particular response. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I mean, I think my man is correct on everything that he speaks of. Just knowing our history, knowing our past, knowing how we have been oppressed, knowing that we're not the enemy. Sometimes that can be trapped inside of us, thinking that when I step into a place that I'm always shunned. Knowing that I might not get this or I might not get that. That was what I was going to speak of as far as your question goes. Just opportunities. Us as African Americans, the lack of opportunities that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done some reading and spoken with a couple of my friends about just the situations of, a white man in America can have a high school diploma as opposed to, us having here bachelor degrees or MBAs. And there's still, some of them still have more of an advantage as far as finances goes. So, I mean,
mm-hmm.
that's crazy. That's crazy just to think that, knowing that I am a black, educated young man, that I can step into an office or step into an interview,
mm-hmm.
have the same qualifications as everybody else,
mm-hmm.
but because of my skin tone,
mm-hmm. politically
be ruled out. And then, that's going to hinder me in the back of my head as well. Like, dang, I do have these qualifications, but on the flip side, I am a black man, so I'm probably less likely to get this position. So I mean, it's crazy.
All right, so let me, just sort of encapsulate it. So is your response to, what the biggest mental obstacle for black men in America is, being recognized in the same way based on your education, or just restate that? Like, what is it, once again, that you think it is?
Okay, so basically, my answer on that would be more so just, like I said, the lack of opportunities.
Got it.
Us as African Americans, whenever, I step into a place, everybody else that's there that's not my skin tone, but also has the same credentials,
mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I might feel at a disadvantage because of my skin tone.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So, with that being said, it kind of goes back to what Kuda was saying. A lot of us sometimes are discouraged, and we shouldn't be discouraged of our skin tone because of the history, things that we have done. It's hidden from us.
Mm-hmm.
It's hidden from us. It's been taken away. So, with that type of mentality, of course, a lot of us are. We're being oppressed, number one, but then on top of that, we're not confident. We're not confident because we are African Americans, but also at the end of the day, we should be. We should be, because we have these capabilities, and a lot of things that are going on are out there that you're seeing on the TV, or the swagger, some of the things that you see out there, the musical lyrics, things of those that's being pulled from us. It's being pulled from us. So at the end of the day, just being an African American male, you should always be confident in your abilities, but also on the flip side of that, I can see where where his answer was coming from, as far as being a little bit discredited on the fact of when I step into an establishment, a place, I am a black man, and sometimes that can go against me.
Right.
So my answer is opportunities, because sometimes a lot of those aren't afforded to us because of that.
Agreed. And one thing I do want you to be able to talk about too, can you just give the listeners some of your academic, and then Kuda, we'll come back to you about what you do professionally as well. I know you're into music, but TJ, what is your academic background?
Yes, sir. So my academic background is, I've been through school. I have a bachelor's in business. Also a bachelor's in education as far as teaching goes, English. Then I backdoored and went to U of H, University of Houston. Love Houston, my second home, and got the MBA. So I am definitely qualified, blessed to be in that situation. I worked hard for it. So I can definitely speak on the fact of opportunities when it comes to a black man. When I step into a room and I see peers, not necessarily black men, that have the same accolades that I do, but also, with me being in that situation, sometimes, especially when I was younger, not being afforded those opportunities because of my skin tone.
Okay, thank you for that. And man, let me just say, I'm proud of you. Right?
Thank you, sir.
I know that paper is important, and there's a whole lot of bread that went into it. But I'm grateful, that you got it done. And you're here to talk about it, right? The other half. And Kuda, let's go back to you. I know you have a music background. You want to talk a little bit about that before, we sort of change gears and I give my thoughts on the topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, with me, my family, we're all musicians in my family. All my aunties are either pianists, songwriters. Me, myself, I am a hip-hop artist, and I would say that the music kind of made me the most motivation and gave me the most history about a lot of the things that are going on in music came from Negro spirituals and things of that nature. So that kind of motivated me to get a message not only through the music, but also educate when you're saying the right things over a beat. So I just feel like that set me apart. As much as our people want to be these entertainers, my goal is not really to entertain. It's to almost, as well as our brother TJ, I want to educate, I want to teach. And sometimes you have to do so in the best manner that's available to you. So my name, Kuda, is given down to me by my great-grandfather. Kuda Brown was a folk legend that didn't want to get in part of the Civil War. So for some reason, he felt like that name would stick to me, and it has. It honestly gives a bridge to the older generation and the younger generation. Because I know, Caucasian people that know the name Kuda Brown, and they actually stay to either hear me talk or see my music, and they're mind blown about what I'm bringing on the stage or bringing as a platform of the knowledge and like just being charismatic of my music. So that's the biggest thing.
You said something, and I have a personal question. Kuda Brown, you mentioned what's the history of that again?
So the folk legend of Kuda Brown, and I spell my name Coota out of respect of the actual folk legend, which is a Cooter. And Cooter Brown, he actually was a person that made himself non-honorable or not accessible to the draft for the Civil War because he had family in the North and the South. So he didn't want to partake in the war, so he made himself ineligible for the war by getting drunk and telling stories. That's why in the Southern states, you might hear the conversation or the statement, "I'm drunker than Cooter Brown." You know what I mean? It's a feel good time. This man was about a purpose. He on a goal, and he knew his goal was to not be a part of something that he did not feel right about. And I took that embodiment of his legend and kind of made it in the same sense of, I'm not going to be a part of no major label because I'm not going to have anyone dictate my creative control. Because things that I say may rub people the wrong way, but these are my statements, and I'm going to stick by my statements. Because I will die for these statements. And, you know, coming from a person, an entrepreneur, like I said, my great-grandfather being the first black plumber here in Austin, that made me feel special. For this man to not know where this name was going to take me. You know, now I'm 5 times South by Southwest official artist, 1 time ACL, and I'm looking to do my first Toronto show out there in North by Northwest up in Canada. So
congrats.
Thank you. It's a lot of hard work.
Okay, and you know, at the end of the show, if you want, you can shout out how people can get a hold of your music. I never want to prevent that from being shared. I'm just being respectful of people's privacy. If that's what you want, because I think that's important. There's a lot of things, a lot of battles, right, that we're all fighting as black men. You know, we got to be on the defensive and the offensive at various times during the day, you know, that code switching thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. So it looks like Remy's still running a little late. And so I'm going to just go ahead and jump in here. One, let me just say again, thanks for sharing your thoughts. And I agree with all of what you said. And I know if we all had time to write a list, right, it would be a lot. But I think my biggest, sort of thought on that is the benefit of the doubt, right? I think, at least for myself, the biggest obstacles that I feel like we have to overcome is just getting the benefit of the doubt. And TJ, you sort of touched on that and alluded to it with the lack of opportunity thought that you had. But to take it one step farther and to just sort of real world, examples, walking into a store, right, and not being followed around. Right, we've all heard those instances where black men walk in and women too, right, and someone will follow them around thinking they're going to take something. We mentioned work, right, and I'm not sure. Let me just kind of stop for just a moment. I don't know if somebody's doing something in the background, but I can hear some scraping or something. But I just want to make sure we're able to kind of minimize that. But as it relates to again, with work, if you have a PhD or a degree, right, you want to be recognized for that, respected for that, right? And TJ, I kind of feel for you even more so because you went through the process, right, the collegiate process, and as a 20-something, you're seeing the world in a completely different way than it was seen even 10 years ago, right? So the other thing is the benefit of the doubt with the police, right? They pull us over, we're doing our thing, and guess what, right? There's an automatic assumption that there's some sort of guilt or we've committed some kind of crime, just living our lives. So it's just never getting the benefit of the doubt, right? Our humanity is always in question. So, but any thoughts on that from anybody?
I think you touched on it, beautifully right there, You never know. Anytime you are pulled over by, law enforcement, you're always pulled out the car as a black man. You're not giving them the benefit of the doubt. We got to have something on us. Pulled out the car, checked. I mean, here I am with a suit and tie on riding daily. You know, this happened to me many a time. So, you know, it's sad that, you know, those are some of the things that we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of our credentials, regardless of, you know, how we speak, how we present ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, facts. And I think where, you know, we can go, like the next logical thought, at least for me, is, you know, what is it going to take, right, for these things to be overcome? And if I have to be honest, I don't think that they will ever be fully, right, overcome in any substantial way. I feel like for whatever reason, the world, America, is used to us fighting for whatever it is that we want. And looking at us like we're crazy if we tell them, why do I have to fight for something when like I'll give you an example. I read one statistic that said that a white male high school dropout will earn more over their professional career than a black male with a college degree. And that struck me, right? And I think that goes to the, you know, how you're valued, right? You hear all the time, well, if you play by the rules, if you do this and you do that, then you will have the tools, the paper to get the respect, the earning potential, right? So that you can pull yourself out of your circumstances, right? I mean, what do they say? Go to college, get a degree, make more money, right? Isn't that the natural flow of things?
Yep.
And so, you know, with that, I just feel like, you know, we're not, well, we have never been given a fair shake, but you know, Kuda, just to come back to you with the music industry, do you, and I know you have some, you know, corporate world experience as well. With your music, what is it, or how would you describe your efforts to position your thoughts on black male or black liberation, or what is the sort of main messaging that you push when you present your music to the world?
It's similar to what you just asked, or really just made a statement about. We were told to basically, well, in my sense of growing up, I was told to stay away from the white man. You know, and damn near fear him. And that's just that slave mentality. That's why it was really special that my grandfather gave me this type of name, so I felt like a front runner to still kind of taste this message that we're still being oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I kind of filter in education is talking about a lot of the same things that is trending. You know, I'm aware of the epidemic that us young black males, we want to either be athletes, entertainers, or dope dealers. And the crazy thing about it, I've touched all three. Just like Brother TJ, very, very well-spoken, very educational, went to college. College just wasn't for me. And the reflection of that, I learned to hustle. So I was in college hustling, coming back and forth from one city to another, made so much money that I was to the point like, why am I in school? Why am I paying for somebody to tell me something I'm already great at? I have bigger things going on in my life that is being taken care of by my gift of gab and my hustle mentality. Man, fuck this. And I left. The music allowed me to give a message to kids like, if you're going to do one or the other out of the three that we're told that we can only do, you have to be the best at it. You have to. If you're going to be an entertainer, be the best entertainer. If you're going to be an athlete, strive to be the best athlete. Hell, if you're going to hustle, just know what comes with it. You know.
Facts.
You have to know what comes with it.
Facts.
If you don't, then you are going to be another revolving door for their system. And I've been in the system before. I have family in the system. And it's nowhere that any man, any human being needs to be at. But once again, if you have your mind prepared of what is in store for you, then you'll make sure to get yourself an out. No one can hustle forever.
Right. Well, you know,
That's it.
go ahead.
Can I pick you?
Go.
Piggyback off that?
Hmm?
You
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, and just to kind of point out what you all were all speaking of, and it's funny, they always say that those are the only three opportunities that we have to rap, to be an athlete or a hustler. But say, you go through and you handle your business academically, you get all the schooling, and, because we were speaking of the opportunities and it still doesn't work out. So it's crazy that you speak on that because you have kids out there that are still going out there getting the educational background, but still also because they're not getting those opportunities. $40,000 in our economy, that could be more hard, especially if you have kids. Mm-hmm. But because you're not getting those opportunities, then now you got a back door with a side job, and that side job is hustling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and that's just throwing out a whole other, topic out there in discussion. Mm-hmm. But, us as being black men, it's just so many hats that we have to wear. Yeah, I'm educated, but because also, the money that I'm making in, corporate America is not enough to feed my family. Then also on the side hustle, because I do have this, this in me, I have this hood side in me because I have to wear so many masks. Mm-hmm. Then also I can hustle on the side as well to make sure that I can feed my family because of lack of opportunities, because I'm not getting the money that I should, even with the credentials that I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, and I agree, it's the economic hurdle, right? That money, cream, cash rules everything around me. So it's tough because working, I envision a time where in America, in our lifetime, where you will have a husband and wife working two full-time jobs and two part-time jobs. And that's just to barely make it. Like, I literally envision that, right? When you have the minimum wage being proposed or to be raised to $15 an hour across the country. Now think about that, right? $15 an hour. And that's the minimum. And me being from California, I can tell you right now, even $70,000 a year for one person, that's still not enough, right? There was one study that said that in the Bay Area, $117,000 a year in income is considered low on the scale of low, middle class, or upper class. That's just barely making it. And so I think when we have a difficulty or difficulties overcoming these hurdles and these obstacles, the side hustles and whatever else you need to do to make it, they become, sort of necessary evils, right? And what do you do? Nobody's going to knock on your door to say, hey, what bill can I pay for you today? How can I help you, get through this? So it's definitely something that I agree with. And Kuda, you said something, and ironically, there's a podcast that went up today that sort of touched on that when you said your parents were telling you stay away from the white man, or your grandparents stay away from the white man. And this is something that I personally still struggle with because I'm going to keep it real. I always do. I ain't a fan of the white man. And I'm not afraid to say that. I ain't never there's never been a white man over to my house for dinner. There hasn't. I don't have white male friends. I have white males that I know of, right? But it's always with the black community, there's this dichotomy, this struggle, right? We know we're here. We know we got to interact. We know we can't let them think that the oppression is holding us back. But we also want to, in a lot of instances, we're trying to curry their favor for approval, validation, right? Which I think in talking this out, I think that's another obstacle. Like this struggle, validate me, right? We talk about football, right? Gladys Knight, Big Boy, Travis Scott, and we know Colin Kaepernick and the boycotting. Are they the kind of black people that are seeking the validation from white people? Or are they just after a check? Or is it seriously just, hey, I want my art form to be appreciated, right? Is what those obstacles? Anybody have any feedback or thoughts on that?
Well, I'll touch up just about initially where you going back to what I was saying. I'm one of those special generations where I wasn't raised with my mom or my dad. I was raised with grandparents and great grandparents. They have this old embodied slave mentality that stay away from the white man. You know what I mean? Like you got to basically put on this this. I want to be fuck it. I'm gonna just say it. Be on this coon like mentality that you gotta entertain and tap dance for the white man type deal, and that fucked me up because I had to do my history on why they think like that. They used to take the males in slavery and torture and kill them in front of the kids and the wife, and that's the wife trying to protect their baby by telling you stay away from the white man. You know what I mean? So I understand now, but back then I really didn't understand it. Like, these motherfuckers want to be us so badly. When they call us colored, let's really think about it. We don't change colors. They do. Mm-hmm. They turn pink, purple, pale. Nigga, that's color. Mm-hmm. Right. Black is not a race. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that always made me, like, even in test times, I used to put other. I'll never tell them I'm African American. Why? Because my fear was that they would test me or score my shit wrong to make it seem like I was dumber than what I was. Mm. It's to the point that they had to bring my family in. It's like, well, your son keeps calling himself other. It's like, well, black is not a race. And this is just, happily enough, my grandparents are intelligent enough to see what I was doing. I was planting the seeds to get a better education. Mm. Yeah. That's it.
That's smart.
It's a statistics thing. Why do you think they do the census? Because they want to see what the number of blacks, mm-hmm. Mexicans, and then minorities are. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, to be prepared, hire more police officers, build more jails, things of that nature. It's never a good thing when they have more knowledge than you do. And that's my biggest aspect. I go to do my own research. We're blessed right now in this generation that we can use the internet. We can use these systems, not just libraries, which we still need to do because eventually they're going to take away books. And that's the one thing that's going to shake this country up is the libraries and taking away this knowledge. Because now they can make up things and call it fact.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. And TJ, because you've had a lot of extensive, 20-something experience in the collegiate world, what was your interaction with your white counterparts as you were going through the different university, colleges, courses? Did you feel like, even though you were both getting the same information, that there was still a different level of respect, or that did you really feel like, my opportunities are the same, they treat us the same? Did you have any, or did you even give it that any thought?
It's funny you should say that. I was kind of oblivious to it from the standpoint of, when you're in college and you're an athlete in college. I played football in college. Everything at the end of the day, you're kind of the king of the hill. So a lot of those kids were always trying to befriend you. A lot of those kids were always trying to do something for you to kind of be in on the in crowd. So for the most part, I always knew what it was that I'm a black man and this person is a white individual. But also on the flip side, because I was the one more so benefiting from it, I was oblivious to it. I knew there was going to be a time that, we'll all have to separate, we'll all have to separate sides. They'll go their way and I'll go mine. I'm a black man, this is a white man. Once we all graduate, they'll probably have more opportunities than me. So I did keep that in the back of my head. So, most definitely I knew what it was. But on the flip side, I was very oblivious to it because, I was having fun. I was king of the hill. So it's crazy that you should mention that.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I see this is all connected, right? Kuda said there are three options for most black men, right? Athlete, entertainer, hustler. TJ, you brought in the athlete component and then tie that into the academic as well, and how it sounds like you were in a bit of a cocoon, a bubble. So you were somewhat insulated from the racial disparity because you were in an environment that white folks, just keep it real, football in particular, they like that lane, and they treat you like a celebrity, right? Like you're special. You can do something that other black people can't do. So you're not really black, right? You're doing something that's entertaining me and making me happy. So I want to be around you, right? And you're not really taking a stance about your blackness, right? And that's the part of football that has amazed me. Even with college or professional, they don't even see the black men under the helmets and the pads, right? They just see the number, right? Now, these are the same black men, the same exact black men that are getting choked out, harassed, but and you can't support fighting for our own liberation. So I appreciate you sharing that. And what I want to do at this point is say, I know that there's a list, right, that we could continue to go down. And I feel like we do need to continue this conversation. And I just want to say thank you to you both, in particular because you are still fighting, right? You guys are the 20-something generation that's going to lead the way for the next generation. Like, it's your voice, right? It's your creativity. And I feel good about sort of starting to close things out with, if you could change, right, any decision, or if you could change any outcome for yourself that you think would help you get to that next level, right? What do you think that would be, right? Is there anything that you just say, man, if I could just fix this, it'll help, or I could just help people, if they could just understand this about me, they would understand that I deserve the same kind of opportunities. And that's for anybody.
That's a good question, man. I mean, this is what I can say about that. I mean, there's me being a black man, my outside, my skin tone, that appearance is never going to change. So I wish people would understand that, we deserve the same opportunities as everybody else. I wish people would not put me in the category of everything that they see on a hip-hop video or whatever they see on World Star Hip-Hop, and know that I'm a person. If I could change that element and that aspect from it, then I'd be good. But as far as something that I could do, all I can do is continue to present myself as an educated young black man and do the right things to put myself and my family in the best situation. But also, on the flip side of that, like I said, I live in America with 3 Ks, as you like to say. So, we'll see, man.
Okay. Appreciate that. Kuda, what about you?
On my side, honestly, and I say this to all my interviews, I wouldn't change one darn thing about the situation. Just because I was always told by great people, you go through these trials and tribulations, and you better understand the success once you get it. What's the glory without the story? The story's much powerful when you're getting it out the gutter, the mud. Like, I have a story where this crazy thing about it, this white cheerleader from my high school, she came to pick me up from my crib, and she was almost dumbfounded of the neighborhood I lived in. She's like, "Oh my God, you live here?" And it kind of threw me off at the time. I was just laughing. I was like, "Yeah, this is where I'm from." But now getting older, she didn't really understand the person that she knew and the neighborhood that I was raised in. It's almost like a whole 360. Mm-hmm. My God, like, you don't reflect on where you lay your head at. And that is the perfect mask, like TJ was saying, because I wrote a paper about, as black people, we have to wear these masks in the corporate world, in the neighborhood that we're from, and the people that we interact. We have to put on these different characters just to feel non-threatening. You know what I mean? And that is the biggest thing. And to me, that makes it harder for you to put us in a box, even though you already have a pre-notion of us. and that is the best thing. That's the best weapon that we need to utilize more. Is that they try to put us in this box, but it's just us to accept staying in that box. That's really it. Like Brother TJ said, I'm on the same pathway as him. I'm going back to school just to have another arsenal to my resume. Mm-hmm. But however, I know that really wasn't for me. But this go around, being that I am a father, is that it's something I can show to my child. It's like, hey, I may have not used my education, but I did go get it.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Yeah, all I'm saying, I did utilize what was there, because I have to work 3 to 10 times harder. But once it's there, the goals, the glory, the sense of you have to respect me, not only because I'm a black man, but because I'm educated, because I'm a successful entrepreneur, because I'm a successful musician, where other big musicians in the city that have the accolades, the notoriety, speak to me, but you don't know who I am. So if they know who I am, then eventually you will too as well. It's just the work ethic. It's just, I got to put in my dues. And I paid a lot of dues, so it's time to reap the benefits of it, all the investments that I placed in.
Yeah, and I agree with everything that you both have said, right? And this is the duality or triality of our existence, right? Of course, the natural thing to promote, get educated, of course, but college ain't for everybody, right? Yeah. But if you can get it, get it. Now, the other unfortunate side effect is, how aggravating must it be that you have a young black male who dropped out of high school, not that anybody on this phone did that, or this call, or this show, but dropped out of high school, started hustling, made a good career out of it, and in 10 years, you have another brother, went to college, and they both are making, or the drug dealer is making more than the college-educated person, black man, right? Without the debt, without the, paying back student loans till he's 65, right? Without any of the corporate stigma. So, and I'm not glorifying, right, certain aspects of our culture, but I am saying that when you decrease and diminish opportunities, it is full well understandable why certain decisions have to be made. Now, I got to qualify that. Look, go to school, get your education, that sort of thing. But we as black men always have to, as you both have said, wear these different hats, code switch, with masks. And I think that affects us psychologically. Right. I think that, the mental illness component, not that anyone on this call is suffering from it, but I'm saying over time, a lot of black men have succumbed.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So, look, I appreciate you guys coming on the show today. I was hoping that we would have been able to hear from Remy, but he's caught up doing something else. We'll come back and bring this together again. But before we sign off here, Cooter, do you want to shout out some of your social media?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, which is COOTABROWN, the number 4, the number 1. Or simply, you can Google my name, Cooter Brown 41, COOTABROWN 41. I'm the top hitting search. I've worked very hard to make myself the only search. Once you search that name, you will find me. You'll find all my links, my music, a lot of the shows that I've done in Austin, California, and things of that nature. And once again, A1, I do appreciate your time and placing a platform for us to actually be honest about the day-to-day struggles of just being who we are and actually accepting who we are as more of a gift than a curse.
Respect. TJ, I know you got a lot going on, man, but any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Yeah, y'all can reach me at nowhere. I'm very excited. I'll be back on soon. But just to close it all out, I know we spoke of a lot of the struggles out here, but us as black educated men, we're blessed, man. We're blessed for, you know, a lot of the opportunities that are coming our way. So I appreciate you having me on the show. I want to let everybody else know out there that are struggling with those opportunities or things, or just being an African American, that, hey, just keep fighting. Because, you know, I've definitely been in those situations. All you have to do is keep fighting and knocking down those doors, and I guarantee you it's going to open up. So to those out there, just keep your heads up.
All right, Tupac, keep your head up. All right. So, so thank you to the listeners. I really appreciate you checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk. My name is A1 with Kuda Brown and TJ, and we ain't scared, right, fellas?
We ain't scared.
Right?
Far from it.
That's right. We ain't scared. So, thank you again, and we ain't scared.